The Sanctuary of Santa Faustina, written by D.B. Lindgren, narrated by Skye. Chapter 4, Out of Place. Steam fills a bathroom as Marty showers behind a curtain. Her singing voice fills the tiled room. Marty. Pajarita que cantas en la laguna. Marty shuts off the water. She reaches from behind the curtain and grabs a towel and bathrobe that hang next to the shower. Marty. No despiertes la niña que está en la cuna. Marty exits the shower wearing the bathrobe and with the towel wrapped around her hair. Armis. Miss Munoz. Startled and confused, Marty looks around the room. Marty. Armis? Armis. Yes. Deputy Administrator Munoz left a message for you. Would you like me to play it? Marty. Please don't contact me while I'm in the bathroom. Armis. Does it alleviate your concerns to know that my visual capabilities are disabled in this room? Marty. No. Don't bother me in here. Armis. Understood, Miss Munoz. Marty leaves the bathroom and walks to her bedroom. She glances around the room, searching. Armis. Can I be of assistance, Miss Munoz? Marty. Do you know where my clothes are? Armis. In the wash, but there are several outfits in your closet that should fit you comfortably. Marty. What closet? Armis. Allow me to show you. A section of the wall slides away, revealing a spacious closet. Hanging inside is an assortment of pants, shirts, and dresses, all handmade from natural materials with solid colors. Marty. I don't need so many. Armis. Variety's the very spice of life. Marty considers the clothes in the closet. She selects a pale yellow dress and puts it on. Marty leaves her bedroom and walks to the front room. She looks around, at a loss for what to do with herself. Armis. Miss Munoz, would you like me to play the message that Deputy Administrator Munoz left for you? Marty. Okay. A screen on the wall starts to play a recorded video of Emilio. Emilio. Sorry, Maricela. I have a meeting I need to attend. There are clean clothes in your closet. If you're hungry, just tell Armis what you want. I'll be back later. The screen goes black. Armis. There's also a message from Mrs. Bantari. Would you like me to play it? Marty. Mother Rupa? Yes? The screen starts to play a recorded video of Mother Rupa. She stands in the assembly room of the girls' home. Next to her stand Miss Celeste and Miss Olivia, and behind her stand all of the orphaned girls. Many of the girls hold posters with congratulatory messages and drawings. Mother Rupa. Marty, we just wanted to let you know that we are so proud of you and so excited for you. All of us will miss you very much, but we know you're where you're meant to be. You will do a great job. Congratulations, Marty. The girls applaud and cheer. Some wave their posters and others wave their hands. Yasmin and Gemma are especially enthusiastic. Brooke is dour. The screen goes black. Marty stares at the screen with misty eyes and a tender smile. Armis. Miss Munoz, I took the liberty of having the cafeteria drop off dinner for you. It's waiting in the dining room. Lights turn on in an adjacent room. Marty walks over to the dining room. At one end of a polished wooden table sit plates with mushroom tacos, mashed potatoes, corn on the cob, and nopales salad. Marty's eyes go wide as she surveys the bounty. Is all of this for me? It's too much, Armis said. Yes, I was informed that these are some of your favorite foods. Marty sits down on a chair nearest the meal. This is really too much, but thank you, Armis. Armis. My pleasure, Miss Munoz. Marty begins to eat. In a well-appointed conference room, Emilio, Dr. Sang, and Dr. Meyer sit around a table with their ARCs. On the walls are screens showing the results of Marty's physical exams. Dr. Sang points at one of the screens. In short, she's a healthy 15-year-old girl. Emilio. Nothing out of the ordinary. Dr. Sang. Slightly elevated levels of dopamine, but nothing to be concerned about. Dr. Meyer. Unfortunately, I can't say the same. She turns to her brown ARC. Playback M. Munoz EEG1 on screen. One of the screens on the wall begins to show the results of Mari's neural tests. Dr. Meyer. The electrical activity of her brain is unlike anything I've seen before. As you well know, I've always been skeptical of the need to conduct these tests on new employees. But in this case, the tests proved warranted. Emilio. What are we looking at? Dr. Meyer. There are periodic spikes of electrical activity in the temporal lobe, almost like microseizures, but the subject showed no outward signs of distress. Emilio. What does that mean? Dr. Meyer. Frankly, I don't know. We should loop in radiology. We'll likely need neuroimaging to learn more about what we're dealing with. Emilio nods. Armis, contact Chief Administrator Klein. Armis. Certainly. One screen switches over to live video of a figure sitting behind a desk in a dimly lit room. The man's face is obscured by shadows. This is Chief Administrator Elias Klein. He is bald, with a finely wrinkled face and piercing blue eyes. Klein. Yes. Emilio. I trust you've been monitoring our meeting and are aware of Maricela's results? Klein. Yes. Have neuroimaging performed as soon as possible. Emilio. Yes, sir. Klein. In the meantime, I want her assigned to a job starting tomorrow. Emilio. But, sir, she just arrived. She hasn't had time to adjust. Klein. There are no freeloaders in ADSEC, Mr. Munoz. She lives here now, so she must contribute. Emilio. Of course, sir. Still seated at the dining room table, Mari is full and content. The plates are empty. Armis. Would you like more food, Miss Munoz? Mari. No, I'm so full. I've never eaten this much in my life. Mari stands and walks to the front room. She lies down on a plush couch. Does everyone here live like this? In so much luxury? Armis. Santa Faustina's resources are distributed according to merit. Mari stretches and yawns. And who determines a person's merit? Armis. Chief Administrator Klein is ultimately responsible for managing Santa Faustina's resources. Mari. I think everyone should be treated fairly and equally. I'll talk to my uncle about this. Mari yawns again. Have you heard from him? Armis. Deputy Administrator Munoz is still in a meeting. Mari closes her eyes. Okay, I'll just wait for him here. Mari walks leisurely along a road on the periphery of Santa Faustina at night. A cloud of dark smoke wafts into her path. Mari coughs and looks up, noticing a column of smoke rising into the air a few blocks away. She starts walking faster. As Mari gets closer to the source of the smoke, it becomes obvious that the smoke is coming from the girl's home. Mari starts running. Smoke billows out of the girl's home while flames consume the walls. Mari runs up to the building, coughing. She pauses for a moment, her face flush with distress, and then dashes inside the building. Mari bursts into the foyer. There is no fire and no smoke. Mari looks around the room confused. An alarm is sounding in another room. Mari moves toward the direction of the alarm. Mari walks into the assembly room, which is empty and still. The alarm continues to sound, emitting from the other side of the makeshift curtain separating the space. Mari crosses the room to the curtain. Mari enters the instruction area. At the center of each of the 3 round tables sits an ARC, the blue ARC, the red ARC, and the yellow ARC, Ren, which flashes red while blaring the alarm. As Mari approaches Ren, the red flashing stops and the alarm cuts off. Above Ren project the words, "Hello, Mari." Mari. Ren? A bell sounds. Ren lifts off the table and floats closer to Mari. The projected words change to, "I need your help." A bell sounds again. Mari. Ren, what's wrong? A bell sounds again. In the front room of Emilio's quarters, Mari is splayed out on the couch, asleep. A bell sounds. Mari does not move. Armis. Miss Munoz. Mari still does not move. A bell sounds again, louder this time. Mari stirs and opens her eyes. Armis. Miss Munoz. Mari rubs sleep from her eyes. Where am I? Armis. You are in your quarters. I have a message from Deputy Administrator Munoz. Would you like me to play it? Mari stretches her arms. Okay. A screen on the wall displays a recorded video of Emilio. Emilio. Hello, Maricela. You were asleep when I got home last night and I didn't want to wake you. I have an early start today. I'm sorry we didn't have more time to talk. He pauses. Maricela, I assigned you a job. You start today. Mari sits up straight. Emilio. Don't worry. Armis will help you. I know all of this is very sudden. I'm sorry. We'll talk this evening. The screen goes black. Mari's posture remains rigid. Armis, what am I supposed to do? Armis. You are scheduled to meet with your supervisor in an hour, which should give you plenty of time to get ready for the day. Shall we get started? Mari nods. Yes. Mari sits on a bench near the elevators in the ADSEC lobby. Her hands are folded as she glances around the area. Landon Mitchell, clean-cut with an athletic build, steps off an elevator and saunters to Mari. 2 ARCs, one black and one green, hover close behind him. Landon holds out his hand toward Mari. Hello, Maricela. I'm Landon. Mari stands and shakes Landon's hand. Hello. Landon. Sorry I'm late. I had to pick up your ARC. Mari. I get my own ARC? Landon. Of course. Everyone has one. Mari. Not everyone. There are only 3 ARCs at the girls' home for everyone to share. 4 if you count Mother Rupa's. Landon. I meant everyone who needs one. Everyone at ADSEC. And now, that includes you. He turns to the green ARC. ARC 127, transfer control to Maricela Munoz. The green ARC floats over to Mari, who grins giddily. Mari and her ARC follow Landon and his ARC onto an elevator. The doors slide shut behind them. Landon. Surveillance and reconnaissance. Armis. Certainly. The elevator starts moving. Landon. You'll be working on the Community Surveillance Review Team, which is exactly what it sounds like. You examine real-time surveillance of our community and flag any suspicious or out-of-place behavior for further review. Mari. How will I know what is suspicious or out of place? Landon. You'll know. The elevator stops and the doors open. Armis. We've reached your destination. Good luck, Miss Munoz. Mari and her ARC follow Landon and his ARC off the elevator and onto the surveillance floor. A long, open area segmented into rows of low-walled cubicles. Each cubicle houses an analyst sitting at a workstation, diligently reviewing multiple screens. Next to each analyst sits an ARC. Landon and his ARC lead Mari and her ARC to an unoccupied cubicle with 3 deactivated screens. Go ahead and take a seat. Mari sits down on an office chair. Her ARC rests on the workstation in front of her. Landon. Now just tell your ARC to begin monitoring. Mari. ARC begin monitoring? The 3 screens come to life, each showing live video from high above Santa Faustina. Landon. Your ARC will do a lot of the work for you, accessing a selection of feeds from your jurisdiction. The screens cut to different views. The first screen continues to show footage from high above the town, but now centered on the girls' home. The second screen shows Mother Rupa pacing inside her office, speaking to her ARC. The third screen shows the assembly room as Miss Celeste and Miss Olivia lead the orphan girls in their morning exercises. Mari stares at the screens. Her eyes narrow in confusion and incredulity. What is this? Landon glances at Mari but ignores her question. Your ARC is fully capable of identifying potentially suspicious behavior on its own. Your role is to provide human oversight and judgment. Mari waves her hand at the screens. This is the girls' home. Landon. Well, yes, your familiarity with this facility makes it a perfect first assignment for you. Marty. Why are there cameras there? Why are you watching them? Landon. We have cameras everywhere. In every room, in every ARC, microphones too. Speaking of which, if you lean toward a particular screen, the audio from that feed will automatically... Marty. They aren't criminals. Landon. Nobody is saying they are. Marty. I won't do this. It isn't right. Landon crosses his arms. Listen, kid. I know you're new here, but you're part of AdSec now. We don't have the luxury of always doing what's right. We must do everything in our power to keep our community safe. Landon points at Marty. You're the best person for this particular job, but if you won't do it, someone else will. Marty slumps her shoulders. Fine, I'll do it. Landon. Good. If you see anything unusual, have your ARC contact me. He exits with his ARC. Marty focuses on the screen showing the orphan girls exercising. On the screen, Miss Celeste and Miss Olivia cajole the girls to perform their exercises. Marty leans toward the screen and the sound beams directly to her. Miss Celeste. Come on, girls, you can do better than that. Miss Olivia. Pick up the pace a little, let's wake up. Marty leans back in her chair and the sound from the screen cuts out. She watches the screen in silence for a moment. Marty. Armis? Armis. How can I help you, Miss Munoz? Marty. Can you contact my uncle? Armis. Deputy Administrator Munoz is currently unavailable. Marty. As soon as he's available, can you tell him I need to speak with him? In person? Armis. Yes, Miss Munoz. Marty returns her attention to the screens. One of the screens now shows the instruction room within the girls' home. The room is empty save for the 3 ARCs, Ren included, sitting on the tables. Above Ren project the words, Hello, Marty. Ren lifts off the table and floats nearer to the camera. The words change to, I need your help. Marty leans closer to the screen to engage the audio, but the instruction room is silent. Scrolling above Ren, the projected words change to, Tell your ARC to restart its network interface. Marty looks over at the ARC and pauses to consider the situation. She glances around her cubicle and the surrounding area before again looking at the ARC. Marty. ARC, restart your... Armis. Miss Munoz. Marty flinches, startled. Yes? Armis. Deputy Administrator Munoz can speak with you now. He'll be waiting for you in your quarters. Marty. Okay, thank you. Marty looks back at the screen showing the instruction room, but Ren is back on the table motionless, with no words projecting above it. Emilio sits on a couch in his quarters as Marty paces before him. Their ARCs rest on opposite end tables. Marty. I won't do it. They're my friends, my family. Why are we watching them? Emilio. We watch everyone. Marty turns to Emilio with intent focus. Why? Emilio. There's a lot you don't understand. Marty. Help me understand. Emilio gestures to a space on the couch next to him. Marty sits down. Emilio. We are at war. Marty. With who? Emilio. The Confederation of South America? The East Asian Alliance? We don't know. Marty. How can we be at war but not know with who? And why would they attack Santa Faustina? Emilio. Santa Faustina may not look like much, with its drab exteriors and remote location, but that's by design. Our work is significantly valuable. Marty. Maybe we weren't attacked. Maybe... Emilio's face flushes. Of course we were attacked. We were sabotaged. We might not know the exact cause of the shutoff, but our systems were hacked and crippled. To this day, we don't have full access. Marty. I didn't... Emilio. Who attacked us over 9 years ago matters less than who is attacking us today. The world went dark almost a decade ago. Global powers as we know them may no longer exist. Although we don't know who exactly is out there, we know they're hostile. Mari: How do we know that? Emilio scoffs. You've seen the sentries for yourself. Mari cocks her head. The what? Emilio: Autonomous, noxious terrain sentries. The ants. Patrolling the desert, attacking us whenever we move beyond the range of our jamming signal. We lost many good people to the ants before we fully understood their aggressive nature. Mari: You're right, I have seen the ants in the desert, but I've also seen them in storage beneath our town. Hundreds of them. Why? Emilio pauses a moment and then slowly nods. We created them. The product of one of our military contracts. But the ants you saw underground are disabled, while the ones in the desert are anything but. Mari: Disabled, but... Emilio: What? Mari shakes her head. Never mind. She frowns. If we created the ants, how can they be the work of an enemy? Emilio: Sometimes enemies hide in plain sight. The shutoff hack came from within ADSEC. Key systems and resources were compromised, including the ants. 11 ants went rogue, the rest were rendered inoperative. Mari: Who hacked ADSEC? Emilio looks away from Mari and pulls in a deep breath. It was your mother. Mari: No, she was away during the shutoff. She was at a conference. Emilio: I know that's what you were told. That's what we told everyone, but she was here. She had top-level security clearance. Her employee credentials were used during the hack. Mari: Why would she do that? Emilio: I don't know. Mari and Emilio sit in silence for a moment. Mari: What happened to her? Emilio: She abandoned us. She fled Santa Faustina. Mari: Is she alive? Emilio: It's a harsh world out there, Maricela. It's unlikely. He chokes up. It's unlikely she survived. Mari holds out her hand and Emilio takes it in his. Emilio: But in here we're safe. We can't let something like what happened with your mother happen again. And that's why we must watch everyone. Mari squeezes his hand with affection and then releases it. I understand, but I won't do it. Emilio slowly nods. Okay, I'll speak with the chief administrator. We'll find something else for you to do. Mari lays her head on Emilio's shoulder. Thank you, Tio.